What's up, cool people? I'm Matt Conroy. So, if you haven't been watching it lately, I've been playing a game called Digimon Survive, and I'll explain a little bit more about the game later, but, I wanted to show you a clip from the game that has to deal a bit with, anxiety and being a leader.
つうか、なんでタクマが仕切ってるんだよ。そうだそうだ。いや、なんでアグモンがそっちに回るんだよ。そういうのは年長者でやんねえとな。葵先輩、亮先輩、どうぞ。
こんな時だけ先輩って呼ばないでよ。
Or maybe
私は
maybe Rio and Aoi are the same age? Hold on. Aoi, 15. Rio, 15. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
どうするもこうするもどうにもなんねえだろ。
That's Rio for you. I guess last night's events didn't help.
とにかく俺はおめえらの引率なんてする気もねえし、器じゃねえ。知らね
うん、まあそうだよね。じゃあ、葵さんは？
ごめんなさい。私も頼りにされるほどしっかりはしてないわ。
真面目なのに？
それとこれとは別でしょ。
そんなことないって。葵は優しいし真面目だし頼りになるって。
だから買いかぶりよ。私今だって不安で。
Yeah, but like just being anxious and worried about stuff doesn't necessarily make you a bad leader. I mean, it depending on the extent of your anxiety, like if you're really that troubled over things, it can sort of, almost paralyze you with fear in a bit and keep you from making decisions in a sense. But I mean, just being worried about things doesn't, like, automatically mean you can't lead. Sometimes it's like showing that you can still make good decisions and, remain concerned about other people and, other qualities like that. If you can still manage to do those in troubling situations, that's what really marks a great leader. So, her line of thinking is only correct because she's basically making it correct for herself, if that makes any sense. Okay, so there's this character, Aoi, who is one of the oldest to the group. I mean, they're all pretty young. They're all like teenagers. But, at least as the group stands at that moment in the game, she's one of the two that are both 15 years old, so they're kind of the oldest, and therefore are sort of the ones who would be assumed to have the leadership role in the group. But, unsurprisingly, it takes a little bit more than just age or title or something like that to make a leader. I think we all know this. But, in Aoi's case, she actually has some good leadership qualities, as, the other characters mentioned a bit. I wouldn't necessarily call it seriousness if you were, referring to it as a leadership quality, but still, some good character traits were mentioned. And yet, Aoi seems to think that she's not really capable of being a good leader because of all the anxiety that she feels. And I made my comments on that in the clip, specifically. But, you know, I wanted to kind of elaborate a bit and say that, like, yeah, okay, if you have absolutely crippling anxiety that leaves you, like, really stressed and worried to the point of either, you know, extreme indecision and or, like, you know, darn near panicking, like actual physical panic attacks and such when placed in such situations. Yeah, obviously that kind of anxiety is going to keep you from being a good leader. But broadly speaking, anxiety is just defined as the reaction of the mind and body to stressful, dangerous, or unfamiliar situations. It's a sense of uneasiness, distress, or possibly dread that you feel before a significant event. And now, certain levels of this can be helpful. Like, you don't want to go into every situation just assuming everything's going to be totally fine. Like, a slight level of anxiety is why you might study for an exam, or why you might even prepare for anything in the first place. And, you know, similarly, it's what might cause you to be cautious under certain circumstances and, you know, maybe not want to check out that random noise that's off in the distance or what have you. So anyway, bringing that back around to leadership and such, you know, it's possible that you may be in a stressful situation at work or wherever you find yourself in somewhat of a leadership role. And, you know, just having that stress in and of itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, because that can sort of, you know, push you into, you know, some sort of action or decision making that is necessary for the situation. And if you just kind of brushed it off like it was nothing, you might not, you know, react properly or even in a decent time frame to the situation. But anyway, all this is a really roundabout way of me kind of making the same point I made in just the clip from the game, that anxiety, at least in the broader sense, doesn't disqualify you from being a leader. Now, it's a slight spoiler, because, you know, I haven't gotten to this point yet in my playthrough of the game, but we find out later on that Aoi actually does end up making a fairly good leader. I'm not going to get into other details lest I spoil the game further, but eventually she takes on more of a leadership role. In fact, like the primary leadership role for the group. And it turns out that, you know, all that anxiety, all that stress that she thought was, you know, disqualifying her from being a good leader actually ends up making her a good leader in the first place. It winds up, you know, pushing her to act. It pushes her to, you know, make decisions for the group, and ultimately to focus on keeping the group safe, which is really her main concern and the primary thing that is causing this anxiety for her within this situation. So, again, really, if you dig deep into it, you know, being able to overcome what you're worried about, or, you know, be able to move on and make good decisions despite being, you know, worried about these different things, that, I think, actually marks a sign of an even better leader than someone who just kind of pushes on through and doesn't really take the time to sit, consider, you know, the various outcomes and possibilities, and, you know, really think through a lot of those things that we would tend to think make the situation more stressful or fill us with more anxiety. So I guess that last little bit I wanted as sort of a word of encouragement to people out there who might find themselves in some sort of leadership position, or at least, you know, in some way influencing others who, you know, who struggle with anxiety and are worried that, you know, they're not doing a great job just because they're always so stressed out and anxious and worried about all these different possibilities and things that could go wrong. Don't necessarily spend all day being anxious and worried about what could go wrong, but, you know, it's okay to at least think through that a little bit so you don't just, like, brush off the situation, make a haphazard decision, not realizing what the ramifications could be, and then possibly wind up doing something that is not good for the situation. Anyway, okay, that's all I had to say for this. So, yeah, feel free to check out my playthrough of the game. Specifically, that episode I'm going to leave, you know, in a video down near the bottom of the screen as this video wraps up. But before I get to that, of course, as always, like if you enjoyed, share if you want others to see the video, this video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel and click the bell to get updates when I post new videos. Look down in the description for info on social media pages, and leave comments down below with any thoughts that you have, especially related to this topic or whatever else that you want me to know about. Any suggestions for other games to play, topics to discuss, whatever. Let me know down below. So that's it. Hope you're all doing well. Hopefully I'll see you for the next video, or maybe in one of the videos that appear down below here. But whatever the case is, till next time, stay cool, people.